If you look around Iceland or drive around Iceland, you're going to see a lot of moss-covered lava rocks. You're going to see a lot of turf and sod. But what you're not going to see is a lot of trees. When Vikings first arrived here about 1,000 years ago, only about 30% of the island was even suitable for growing trees. There was a good amount of birch and some oak. The oak, being stronger, was used to build their Viking halls, and the birch was used to build their longhouses, which is what they traditionally built in the countries that they came from, such as Norway and Denmark. This eventually evolved into the turf houses that have been found in a lot of the Nordic countries. They used a large stone foundation and wood frame that held the load of turf. It was assembled in multiple layers, usually in a herringbone finish, and then sealed and insulated. It was durable, resistant to wind, rain, and erosion, and there was plenty of turf and rock in Iceland to build it from. The roof was made of sod or prairie grass, and this regulated the temperature both in winter and in summer. And for the floor, they would use wood, stone, or earth as was available or as was required. And due to temperature regulation, the natural insulation maintained a homeostasis and kept the people protected and comfortable all year long. And this went on for almost 1,000 years. Eventually, what were essentially finished caves turned into cellars. Cellars turned into houses with rooms that were purpose-built. And this all shifted with the availability of resources. Most of the houses featured a central hearth, pantry, sleeping area, and some even had saunas and indoor lavatories. Oddly enough, the turf houses got simpler over time, and this is because as the population increased, resources decreased, which meant that there wasn't enough wood to go around, and eventually you had to resort to using even more stone, even more sod. And they were built for longevity, but here at Sel, you can see that with regular upkeep, they can last for hundreds of years, and some stone cellars have lasted nearly a millennia. Here in Keldur, a row of turf houses as well as a hall were built. The hall was supposedly built in the 11th century. One of the windowsills in the hall has the date carved 1641, so it's at least almost 400 years old. A tunnel was excavated in 1932 that leads from the hall down to a brook behind the hill where the hall is located. This was most likely built for defensive purposes in the 11th to 13th century, which was a period of conflict and unrest in Iceland. Many of the inhabitants here at Keldur make appearances in the various old Icelandic sagas, such as the Saga of Njál, Sturlunga Saga, and the Saga of Saint Thorlakr. The house here at Sel was inhabited until the 1940s, after which the usage of turf houses, which had already been in decline, continued to decline as the ability to import in post-World War II economy led to steel, concrete, and wood being readily available for construction. Thanks for watching, and as always, until next time, get lost.